Welcome to African true life story of a destined girl called Ayo. This is a true life story. From last edition, you will realize Ayo way of life will be best described as Nigeria electricity power supply. When it's on, there will be joy. Everyone start ironing, charging phones, pumping water, and do all things that needed to be done with electricity. But before you finish ironing the first dress, the power will be gone and you will be left frantically switching off appliances already plugged. So on the third week, after which Ayo has successfully forged her mother's signature, something unexpected happened back at the bungalow where they were living in Eruga. To enjoy the full story on how Ayo forged her mother's signature, watch the video titled "They Came to Shine" on this channel. On today's edition, Eruga is a village without pipe-borne water. And on this fateful day, there was no water at home. Ayo's mother is exasperated, ordered Ayo and Afe to fetch water from the stream. And each time they went to the stream, Gbemi, the quiet girl living with Miss Kuti, followed them. What happened at the stream that day was an episode Ayo would never forget. This unfortunate day, the sun beat down mercilessly, and the breeze ceased as if there's going to be a general announcement as Ayo, Afe and Gbemi moved towards the stream. Their empty buckets swing with each step. They were joyful with their sandal clicking up dust as they went to fetch water, as they often did. The three of them joked and laughed as they walked to the stream, completely unaware that that day would become one they would never forget. Upon arriving at the stream, there were more people than usual, and everyone was discussing about the Fulani wedding ceremony happening in the forest. Although during rainy season, Ayo family had enough water drum to store water for a few days, but during dry season, everyone in the village went to the stream to fetch water. In Amos Street, there were two popular streams. One is called an elder and the other is called Hear Me. These two streams were the major source of water supply in dry season. But in an elder stream, you couldn't speak any language but Eruga dialect or remain silent during the visit. In contrast, Hear Me stream bustled with activities as people were free to speak any language or dialect they choose without restriction. The Fulani community located near the stream were rumored to be holding a wedding ceremony in the forest. Word spread that anyone visiting their village that day would be treated with abundance of cashew fruit, which was a prospect eagerly anticipated by everyone at the stream. Also for Ayo, Gbemi and Afe, who rarely experienced such, the thought of unlimited cashew fruit felt like a taste of paradise to them. So without much thinking, the three of them followed unknown crowd to the Fulani cashew plantation, which was very close to where they were fetching water. At first, it looks like an adventure. And as they are going, the air gets cooler. On getting to the plantation, reality hit as the cashew tree were tall, big, and were teasing them. They jumped, used stick, they tried to climb, did everything, but unfortunately, nothing worked. But they never gave up. As time slowly and quietly passed, people began to leave. But Ayo, Afe, and Gbemi insist they must eat from the cashew fruit before they left that plantation. And before they knew what was happening, it was dark and forest grew silence. As the night embrace tightened, fear crept in quietly, and they were the only one left in that plantation. Then they decided to start heading home. Just then, when they made that decision, a boy dressed in casual clothes appeared out of nowhere. He told them they should follow him to a thicker forest where the Fulani were, that they have enough in their residence. Ayo blatantly declined, as something about the boy didn't feel right with her. Then the boy simply said he was going to the Fulani forest alone. Ayo, Afe, and Gbemi got back to the stream, quickly fetched their water, and started their journey home. But before they were halfway, it completely dark, but the path was familiar since they have walked it many times. On their way home, that night felt different. Every sound was louder, every shadow looked suspicious, but they kept walking, acting brave. Then Ayo saw their mother carrying Are on her back, walking as fast as possible, as if something was chasing her from the back. turning her head repeatedly as if the neck was rotating, moving forward as if someone was ordering her to move forward or telling her to keep going. Ayo was the first to sight her. Immediately Ayo spotted her. She shouted, "Mommy!" Then her face softened with relief. Then she said, "Thank God you are back." Immediately she asked, "What kept you so long at the stream?" Without hesitation, she collected the bucket of water Afe was carrying and said, "Let's go home." Without wasting any time, as they reached home, the balcony was packed. Miss Kuti, Miss Daniela, and other students who lived in the house were gathered there. Their faces were mixed with concern and curiosity. They were eager to know what took them so long. However, Ayo's mother was particularly furious. Her eyes blazed as she demanded an explanation. "You must tell me where you went to. This isn't your first time of going to the stream. So what kept you so long today?" Ayo felt a knob of dread tightening in her stomach. She knew with chilling certainty, if her mother heard the detailed story of what has happened at the stream, she would be in for serious beating that day. So she decided to concede to herself the whole matter to avert her mother's punishment. Miss Kuti and Miss Daniela were not left out. The question everyone was asking them was, why had it taken you so long to return from the stream today? But the three of them insist there was nothing to report. They were told to kneel down and that they would not eat dinner that day until they confessed the whole truth. This never bothered them, so they knelt down and remained silent. As luck would have it for them that day, a helper came, which happened to be a neighbor in the next house, Mrs. Ejiro. Mrs. Ejiro was a kind-hearted teacher who was one of the teachers in the same school with Miss Kuti and Ayo's mother. She came for just no reason, that her intuition just told her to come and say hello. This woman was not cruel nor harsh like Miss Kuti and Ayo's mother. She was kind-hearted and very nice to everyone, including Ayo. She never joined Miss Kuti to verbally abuse nor beat Ayo like a common criminal. When she saw them, Ayo didn't sense any relief. Rather, she felt intimidated because someone else who was in the neighbor was aware of the incident. Not only that, she was sure her mother never changes her mind, no matter who pleaded with her. And so, Ayo was not convinced Mrs. Ejiro's visit would change anything. However, immediately Mrs. Ejiro set her eyes on them, she began to plead for forgiveness on their behalf, claiming God sent her to plead for them. Since her intention that evening was to jest with them, a common practice among those living in rural area in western part of Nigeria. So, she pleaded with Ayo's mother and Miss Kuti. Well, Miss Kuti accepted her apology and forgave Gbemi. Ayo's mother insists Ayo must be punished, saying she was sure she must be the architect of what kept them late in the stream, because as the eldest, she should have used her discretion by taking decision of coming home earlier, so those at home won't be disturbed. For this, Ayo's mother forgave Afe, but as for Ayo, she firmly said no, stating she would forgive her and that the punishment was necessary to reset her memory when such events happened the next time. But Mrs. Ejiro persisted, and after a long deliberation, Ayo's mother accepted Mrs. Ejiro's apology and declared Ayo would still be punished that day, but not on the same issue, but on another issue. So she said Ayo should go into her room and bring her report card. In that moment, Ayo's head felt as though it was struck with an iron rod. Her feet glued to the ground, and a wave of icy water seemed to pour on her spine. Her heart seized, nearly causing her to lose control. Frozen, but she remained still. Her mother shouted at her again. "I said go and get your report card for me." Ayo simply murmured, Her mother commented, "I'm sure there will be something like skeleton on that report card of yours, which you will not want anyone to see." Mrs. Ejiro, upon hearing this, after her personal pleading, announced she was leaving, so she left. Ayo stayed longer in the room till she was called out the second time. Still frightened, Ayo stayed in the room for 10 minutes longer before she finally emerged. This he did for her to gather her courage. She came in clutching her report card, which she handed over to her mother. And as soon as her mother opened it, another bombshell was dropped. "Ayo!" her mother shouted, her voice laced with disbelief. "You soon become an armed robber. Look at this. You forged my signature," pointing a trembling finger at the report card, specifically to Miss Kuti direction, and continue. "You soon upgrade and start going to bank, forging my signature and withdrawing my money." Miss Kuti, who hates Ayo with passion, on overhearing the commotion quickly intervened. Her voice was now raising like an alarm. "Ha! She will soon start robbing bank. That will be her next move." Miss Kuti quickly cited an example of a man who lived in Ikaga named Mr. Maxwell, who was popularly called Olowolagba, which two of his sons forged his signature and withdrew all the money in his bank account, rendering him penniless. This didn't go well with the man. He later fell sick, developed stroke, and this led to his untimely death. The two sons were later apprehended by the police, but the deed had been done. In that day, Ayo's situation could be best described like jumping from fry pan into the fire. The insult began to pour in like flood as Miss Kuti, who made herself the champion of the verbal abuse. The way Miss Kuti spoke about the situation that day could be best described as someone adding insult to injury. The weight of Miss Kuti's harsh words and action, and the disappointment in her mother's eyes, all crashed down on Ayo like a tidal wave. She felt like a knot of shame sensation spread through her chest. Her words seemed sank, focusing on the shame and the fear of what was to come. Every unkind word was a fresh wound, a reminder of the mistake Ayo made and the consequences that were unfolding before her very eye. But after said and done, Ayo's mother sighed and said, "This is what God wants me to see today. Go and eat your food and don't let this happen again." Ayo got up, took her cold food, ate the pounded yam absent-mindedly, thinking, who will plead with Miss Kuti to let this matter die the natural death at home? Because whenever Miss Kuti was involved in any issue, the issue won't fade away easily. She will look for a way to jest about it in Ayo's class, just to humiliate and belittle her before anyone who value her. This opportunity came for Miss Kuti during the recording of first term examination when she came to see Ayo class teacher and her favorite teacher, Mr. Olowo. On this very day, the sun shined as if it has a secret to reveal to the world. The class was very hot and noisy as Ayo the bowleg didn't come to school, and when Miss Kuti entered the classroom, the whole class was silent because she was known for beating any class she entered, and the pupils were making noise. She claimed the people looked down on her because of her small stature. Miss Kuti came to Ayo's class for private conversation with Mr. Olowo, but immediately she entered Ayo's class with her class pupil report card. Ayo's intuition told her that that day was the day Miss Kuti would let the bird out of the cage on her report card issue. Although the details of their discussion were unknown on that day of her visit, just as predicted by Ayo, she started noticing all Miss Kuti movements until Ayo had an eye contact with Miss Kuti. When this happened, Miss Kuti sneered at Ayo, raising her voice and started narrating the incident to Mr. Olowo in a way that seemed deliberately inflammatory and blackmailing, stating that Ayo will soon be an armed robber, planning to go to bank and steal her mother's money. "Give me her report card," she demanded, "and let me show you how she forged her mother's signature on her report card," pointing at it to Mr. Olowo. The embarrassment Ayo felt that day was great beyond measure. It was like a fresh wound was opened. So she bowed down her head as if the ground should swallow her because everyone in the class turned in her direction. However, Mr. Olowo, who understood what Ayo was facing in the school and at home, didn't look in her direction. He shrugged, dismissed the claim, silencing her immediately. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. Thanks for watching. Next edition. Now that Ayo is having a good teacher, Mr. Olowo, who loved and gave her all the necessary support, what happened in Ayo's academics? Did she perform better or she failed woefully?